Hello and welcome to a retro video for a system that I've not covered on this channel yet, and it is a system that I actually had for a few years before I got the Sega Mega Drive, and that is the Sega Master System. And this was actually one of the last, if not the last, game that I got for the Master System, and it's Xenon 2. I remember getting this for Christmas, the year it come out. Now you're gonna want me to try and remember what year. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. 1991, 2 on the Master System rings a bell, but I'm not 100% sure. I know I got my Mega Drive when I was 18 in 1992. So yeah, it's probably going to have been around maybe Christmas 91. I don't know. I can't remember now. Yeah, because if it had been Christmas 92, that would have meant I didn't get the Mega Drive till I was 19. Hell, I can't remember. Anyway, this was pretty much the last game that I got for the Sega Master System. I remember seeing a review for it. I remember seeing the graphics in this review for it, and I was like completely blown away at the time. I was like, good God, that's possible on a Master System. I mean, the Master System was capable of some pretty good graphics, but these graphics looked out of this world to me. I mean, they looked almost 16-bit like. And of course, looking back now retrospectively, and anybody watching this video can see, yeah, there's a lot of flicker. There are graphical issues with the game which do sort of belie its 8-bit origins, but I still thought it was very impressive actually for its day. I did enjoy playing it a lot, though it was kind of hard not to notice some flaws that were in it, notably the collision detection, and it seemed to become exacerbated when there was an awful lot on the screen, and I think it was because maybe the flickering of the sprites had something to do with it. Maybe, it was just the fact that the system was struggling to register when your shots were hitting things. There is slowdown. I could go through a list of sort of technical issues with the game, but that kind of deflected away from the fact that I had fun playing it. Back then you were more tolerant of these issues. It seems to me that these days the sort of technicality of the game, the sort of technical competence of the game, has superseded a lot of things. A lot of games back then actually had issues with flickering sprites. I mean, you look at a lot of NES games, they had those issues. And it didn't really seem to affect people's enjoyment an awful lot. And I don't really recall being bummed out at the time that some of the flights splickered, some of the sprites flickered. I don't recall being too fussed about that. The collision detection, I think, was probably a little bit more of an annoyance because that actually harmed the gameplay. But it was never anything that I would have thought, oh, this is rubbish, I'm not playing this anymore. You kind of just kept playing the game and practicing it until you got good enough. You kind of adapt in a funny kind of way. You adapt to the frame rate, you adapt to the slowdown, you adapt to certain things because you just practice and practice and practice until you get better at it. And I think that's an art form that kind of gets lost today. I mean, obviously, no one expects technical issues with the kind of consoles and what have you that we have today, but I think that we fetishize too many elements of that. I mean, I put up a video just to try and almost contradict myself, but I put up a video of the Forza 7, and technically that game was brilliant. The gameplay though was what was great. I mean, yes, there's the bit where I almost eulogize parts of the game on the Nürburgring, where the rain effects, just the weather effects and the skybox, and the lighting is just incredible. But if the game had played rubbish, that would have been it. I wouldn't have bought the game based on that. I thought this game looked incredible, but it seemed to get some pretty good reviews as well at the time. That was the deciding factor. If the game had got like 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 in a lot of the publications that I watched, then the likelihood would be I wouldn't have bothered with it. I want to actually just say something here before I go further, because just watching the video playing back as I'm recording this, I noticed a little bit of stutter there that wasn't in the game when I played it. I capture the video footage using OBS, and I'm using a really old laptop, and I've noticed that with some videos that are more graphically intensive, it's struggling. I do need a new laptop. I would probably need at least something in the class of an i5 really to run OBS properly. I did have some 32X games that I wanted to cover, especially Doom, because the 32X version of Doom is actually the first time that I ever played Doom. My favourite version was on the PlayStation, but actually the 32X was the first version of Doom that I ever owned and ever played and completed, by the way. And I really wanted to do a video of that, and I captured the footage, and it's so jerky. It looks like it's struggling frame rate wise, and that wasn't how the game played, and it wasn't how it was looking in OBS when I was recording it. It seemed to be butter smooth. I suspect it's something to do with just the recording in the back end. I think the laptop just struggles with the game running through the laptop, and also trying to record the footage as well. So I've had to shelve those ideas for the time being. I might get some Mega Drive / Genesis games up and Super Nintendo games that I've played up as well, but again, I'm doubting this poor old laptop. It's only a dual core Pentium, it's really old. I'm doubting its ability to actually be able to do that. It doesn't have a lot of RAM, it's running Windows 10, it's fighting valiantly on, but I think with each passing month it's just becoming more and more encumbered. So I just noticed then I wanted to put that little disclaimer in, because that did not happen in the game. That kind of almost going down to 1 frame per second, it almost looked like it had frozen a couple of times. If that does actually come through the video, because sometimes when I'm using Movie Maker, again because of the limitations of the laptop, when I'm using Movie Maker, sometimes the video stutters, and then when I upload it to YouTube, the stutter isn't there. So, I'm this is a real sort of low rent setup that I have, but I've mentioned it before in my other videos. I just want to try and get some content on my channel, that's different. I tried doing the sort of just the talking videos, and I might still do some of them in the future, but I like video games. I mean, that was the crux of the channel, and sometimes the problem when you put up talky videos is that you kind of lose track of what you really wanted to do. And when I set up the channel now, it's been going for some 7 years, and here we go, way off topic. I'm not really talking about Xenon 2, but I've captured quite a bit of footage, so I kind of need to flesh it out a bit. When I set up the channel, it was really for me to talk about games that I'd played throughout my gaming life, and also about games I was playing currently. Now I can do the latter part quite easily through streaming Twitch footage when I play games, which I've been doing quite a lot and I really enjoy doing. But the difficulty in capturing old game footage was an ever-present problem. It didn't matter, it didn't matter so much because I had my MacBook Pro in the past when I first started the channel, and I was able to do it quite easily. But MacBook Pro is, it's pretty much mothballed now, because it's I got that back in 2007, and it's just nothing runs on it anymore. So even that, and this laptop, He's probably a couple of years younger, and it really is labouring away. So it was always just a case about, just trying to do that. One of the things going back to this game now that I noticed when I was playing this through, and maybe again it was just a coincidental with an issue with OBS, but when I played the game first time round, you noticed that I played with the sound effects. When I played it the second time round, I actually switched the music on. That actually seemed to have an effect on the frame rate. And I don't really recall that being so much an issue back in the day when I had it on the Master System. But then I didn't really like playing games without the music on. And the Master System was not renowned for its sound capabilities. It was kind of bizarre that it had really good graphic capabilities, but Sega really cheaped out with the sound chip. And so the music to this, the music was when this came out on the Amiga, and I later had this on the Amiga, and was, whoa, it was like, so that's what the game should have sounded like. That's what Bomb the Bass's music to this game was all about. Yeah, I mean, the music was one of the sort of real big deals with this game. So when you listen to the Master System soundtrack, it's really tinny and scratchy, which is just par for the course. But I still liked the music on anyway, because the sound effects were never that much better on the Master System anyway. But yeah, I hear you seen fighting the end of level boss. The idea here is to try to get the tentacle that's spitting the bullets at you, is to try to get it off to the right, because you need to shoot this thing in the eye. So you need to sort of go to the right of the screen, and it'll kind of very, very slowly rotate around. That's kind of a bit of a safe zone where I'm at. It can't hit you with the bullets there. I kind of remember that from when I was playing it. But there, you hit the thing in the eye and it flashes wide there. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of typical boss design. It looks a bit ponderous today, doesn't it? When you look at it, it looks a bit like really slow and unwieldy, and I suppose it kind of was back then. But again, I mean, this is what it was. It was what it was. There was no real big change. Things were what they were, and you just accepted it more. I think gamers as a whole, they managed to blow it up. And when you kill this, you go into the shop and you can sell some equipment that you pick up along the way for your ship, and also at the same time you can buy equipment to upgrade your ship, which is quite useful. Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. I mean, you kind of accepted it. I mean, to me, I had a Commodore 64, and then the Sega Master System was technically my first console. You can go back and say, okay, I had the Radifin TV games thing way back when, but that was both mine and my sister's. But the Sega Master System was my first proper games console. And the graphical improvements over the Commodore 64 that the Master System had was just leaps and bounds. Like I say, it was almost like looking at a 16-bit system, even though of course it wasn't, because the 16-bit system was the Mega Drive / Genesis. But this was incredible to me. I was just completely blown away by seeing these type of graphics and playing these type of games that, I just never thought, because back then I couldn't afford an Amiga. It just was a dim and distant pipe dream to ever have graphics like this. Obviously then again, the downside was the sound. I mean, it was, compared to the Commodore 64, the sound on the Master System was laughably bad. I think if I'd have had a Spectrum, it wouldn't have been as big a culture shock. But I remember when I first got the Master System, I can't remember the first game I played in it. It might have been Afterburner, I'm not sure now. I remember I got Rambo. It came with handgun built in, and it was the one that had the light gun with it, and it had a shooting game. And I can't remember what that damn shooting game was. But anyway, I remember hearing the sound and thinking, or maybe it's just these built-in games, you know, maybe they were old and, you know, some of the early C64 sound was a bit dodgy. But then, like, I got Rambo 3, was another light gun game, which was really good. You know, it was a bit of an Operation Wolf type game. And then, you know, I'd say you've got Afterburner and stuff like that, and you're like, no, this is what games sound like on here. And I remember being like so disappointed. I was like, wow. But I got used to it. I got over it. You know, I got to play a lot of games that just look fantastic. You know, and those games I will be doing videos for and uploading if OBS behaves itself, of course. You know, I would like to get Afterburner up, but I'm a bit worried about that with it being a sort of 3D type game that's very fast paced. I get a feeling I might have a problem with that, but I should be able to get the likes of Gauntlet up. You know, if I can get this on here and it, you know, seems to be okay, I'm pretty sure I can do that. Yeah, and I'd like to do that going forward. That would be quite good, quite interesting, you know, just to share some more of these gaming memories really with some gameplay footage. So yeah, I'm getting to the end of this one now. God, that 17 minutes went fast, and then again I was all over the shop with what I was saying. Not all my videos are going to be this long. And you see there's another power up, and when you get that power up it causes a bit more slowdown and flickering, and I bought the farm there. So yeah, that's Xenon 2 on the Sega Master System. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you later.